Hi everyone, so I thought I'd jump on here and kind of talk you through how I bought my first flat, which means a lot to me. I have actually bought before with a partner. I bought a house a few years ago, about 6 years ago now. It feels like another life because obviously that was so long ago, but I bought a flat now. This is where I live. It means more to me because I did it all by myself. And I thought I'd kind of talk to you about the main points about how I did it. So first and foremost, 95% mortgages exist. I don't think people utilize them enough. I think everybody thinks that you have to put 10%, 20%, whatever down for your mortgage, but you really don't. So get utilizing that. And I only put 5% deposit down on the flat for me, and I'm more than happy with that. Secondly, the thing that probably does come to my benefit, but I promise you this job is a gift and a curse, is that I work in a commission-based role. So there are going to be some months where my earnings aren't going to be so high, and there are going to be other months where they are very high. So it kind of goes a little bit like that. And I happen to have 4 consecutive months of good pay slips, which definitely helped me when it came to getting a mortgage. They usually only ask for the last 3 months, so provided the last 3 months, it looks very good, and in turn I got extended amount of lending, which was great. Thirdly, I think people forget that I did buy on my own, just me, and so I only needed room for me. And I think particularly buying in a place like London, you are going to have to make some sacrifices about what you want. So I call these my non-negotiables. So usually narrow it down to 3 things. I think people are way too flexible, and that actually doesn't help you. Traveling up, down, south, wherever, that's not going to help you in your property search. For instance, in Devon, when I bought my first house, my non-negotiables were it had to be shared ownership because I was poor and it needed to be on the shared ownership scheme. It had to be a place with a garden because I had my cat at the time, and in Devon, just to be very clear, that's not abnormal. Most of the places in Devon, I'll probably say maybe 90% of places in Devon had a garden. And thirdly, location. So a non-negotiable for me is that I wanted to live in a specific town in Devon, which was just outside of Exeter. So to recap, it was shared ownership, garden, in a specific town. They're my 3 non-negotiables. So I went to offer on my first place there, and I was turned down because someone else got there first. It's like, oh, rubbish. Anyway, got back on Rightmove, had a little look, and I found another one that was shared ownership with a garden in a specific town just outside of Exeter. So it was perfect. It ticked all my boxes. If I didn't like the kitchen, I just change it. Like you can get wraps, you can do DIY jobs, you can get kitchens on finance, you can do a lot. I offered on the house with my ex at the time, and we got it great. And then I lived 3 years there, so it was perfectly fine and it suited my needs and etc. This time around was a little bit different. London is a bit of a funny place, so I was always going to have to make some sacrifices here, and generally in London, as we all know, it's going to be size. Now, thankfully, a benefit to me in a way is that I am on my own, so I only have to think about myself. I don't have to think about a space that's worth living in for 2 people. So the place that I bought was a small 1-bedroom flat, which perfectly suits all of my needs. The second non-negotiable for me in London was the location. Now, I know I said before, but I don't mean to be too fussy, but I drive. Because I have a car, it was just a radius. My location was anywhere in the sense of anywhere, but as long as it was within a 30-minute drive to work. So just because I just can't do anything longer. I mean, if it's 35, 40 minutes, it's not the end of the world, that's fine. But about 30-minute drive to work. I'm on a budget, I'm buying by myself. I don't have all the money in the world. So really, it was half an hour drive to work and budget. That's it. I had 2 non-negotiables, and the thing I was willing to compromise on was size. So that's what I did, and I did find initially a flat in Stratford, which my friend Amelia hated, but I went for it and I didn't get it, and that ended up dragging on like 3 months, I think. But I did end up getting it, and oh my goodness, I'm so glad, because I ended up buying my flat in North London. And I never would have got that if I'd ended up going for the other one. And my lease is quite long on this one. It's like 92 years, so I've still got 12 years before I look to extend it. And with the new leasehold reform stuff going in, I'm better off extending it in the next 12 years than I was in the last 12 years, because they've now changed the rules. So if you don't know, where you would have added 90 years, now you add 999 or 990 or something like that, just a super long amount, where basically you'll never have to extend it ever again, really. So you go through many generations of your family before anyone would have to think about extending it again. And so that is really good property news, so I'm gonna make use of that. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's how I bought my first flat in London. I was happy to kind of sacrifice on size. All I cared about was half an hour drive to work and money. So I managed to find that. And even though it wasn't perfectly ready to move into, where I utilised the 95% mortgage and was able to kind of hold back if I was to have put a 10% deposit forward, where I've saved money by holding back that extra 5%, that cash in the bank I was able to use on refurbishing my flat. So now it's ready to move into. So wherever people may not have had the budget or the thought to do something similar, I've managed to cash in there. So I'm happy. I now have an asset in London forever because I don't ever plan on selling it. I mean, just think, you know, what I've now done is essentially given myself a piggy bank forever, or for as long as I own it, which I plans to do forever and ever. You know, if I decided to travel Australia tomorrow and just go there for like 2 years, I could rent my flat out for 2 years for £600 more than what I'm paying in my mortgage payment. So if you were to just ram that down for management fees to like 500 and then roughly double it, you know, for the Australian conversion fee, or like how much, you know, the conversion rate is, that's like 800 to a grand, you know, in Australian money, and that's just kind of rolling into my bank account whilst I'm traveling out there, also maybe working part-time or doing this and doing that, and it's almost like free money whilst someone's taking care of my flat while I'm away. So essentially I feel like I've set myself up for life. I am really happy with what I've got. I feel very privileged to be in the position that I'm in, but please do not mistake that. There are no handouts. This is all me. I worked hard for it. I think the only thing that I did have in terms of support was a very lovely nan who let me stay with her for 2 years, whilst I saved and saved and saved as much as I could, and then put every little bit of extra money that I had in my account into my savings account, which I labelled my dream, by the way, just to guilt myself into never taking money out of it. But it worked because I managed to build up a nice healthy deposit. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I would be happy to answer. I hope you learned a little something, and I'll catch you on the next one.